And brings us to our last game for this week. Is the first of a doubleheader. So we will see on the 9th, we will see the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then we will also see them on the 10th. The 10th is a Sunday, so that'll be our next, our HHC number 5. So we'll be here on the 10th to kind of talk about what we saw on the 9th, and then kind of preview, what adjustments or what do we think about the Timberwolves as we get ready for that second game that they'll play on the 10th. But I will be honest with you guys, like, I haven't really watched too much Timberwolves ball this year.
Yeah, me neither, man. Me neither.
Yeah, right. So we can pull up their lineup real quick. Actually, I think Jake already has it up. So we'll take a look at their roster. We'll give them just kind of a real quick little rundown. So Jake, Jake, you see them scrolling. Obviously,
Yeah.
they have Anthony Edwards, but go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. So obviously they got their star point guard, D'Angelo Russell. I love D'Lo. Always been a very big fan of him, even when he was a Laker. But I just love D'Lo. I love what he does, stuff like that. They have their superstar center and Cat, and then their good old number 1 pick in Anthony Edwards, right? So obviously this is a young team still. They have a lot of solid guard play coming out of Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and even Malik Beasley, who was, I think, a Nugget last year, but got traded to the Timberwolves halfway through the year. Same thing for Juancho, Mr. Juancho Hernangomez.
Mr. Wancho.
And then
and what is these guys' record currently?
Their record. Let's see if we can find it on here. I couldn't tell you right now.
All right.
It doesn't have the records on here. Oh,
they're 2-3.
2-3 losses.
Yeah, 2-3 losses.
Okay.
And so obviously, like, this isn't a team that looks super crazy. They have a really solid defensive guard in Josh Okogie. I think if I remember correctly, last year this was a solid little 1-2 punch, because D'Lo was a solid offensive player and Josh Okogie played solid defense. So I expect to see some of that again this year. But at the same time, I wonder how they run their guard rotations, especially with a guy like Anthony Edwards on their team now.
I think is Anthony Edwards coming off the bench?
I would hope not. Like, I'd assume that it's probably D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, and then whoever their forwards are, with Cat at the 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
And then obviously they have a very good veteran point guard coming off the bench in Ricky Rubio, to be a nice playmaker, nice, not a crazy defensive guard, but a solid defensive guard, to say the least. Malik Beasley is probably gonna be doing some wonders for them off the bench. Depending on what we can do defensively, he might be a problem with our second unit, honestly.
Yeah, especially with a smart point guard with him.
Exactly. So he could be really good for them. Let's see. I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head on what they really do. I know Jake Lehman's kind of solid for them.
Yeah, I look at half this roster. I'm like, who the hell is that guy?
So Ed Davis is also a veteran center who's he's probably a decently solid center coming off the bench, but I wouldn't say he's anything crazy.
Yeah. I would put this in the same vein as like the Memphis game of just like they got young pieces, but I think that we should have enough to corral the people we need to corral, play smart, and kind of do enough to beat a team like this. I put on there on the caption when I threw them up there, it says Bubble Watch, just because this is a small market team. This is a team that's kind of in a similar position as us in terms of probably going to be fighting for that. Yeah, having to work through a lot of growing pains, trying to figure out who's going to be like the leaders moving forward. Having really good pieces. Obviously, they have a big piece in Cat. Plus, Anthony Edwards is a number 1 pick. So I mean, they have So yeah, exactly. So they've been experiencing a little bit more of like the bottom of the league, which is why they've been having a lot of good players or good high picks and stuff like that. So, at what point are they going to be able to turn it around? We're not sure, but that puts them right around the same spot as us. So I kind of treat all of these like bubble teams and just like I would treat like the division games this year. Like I just think we need to win all of them. Like
Yeah.
there's no wiggle room in my opinion. Like I was pretty frustrated about losing to New Orleans because it was a division game and it was a winnable game, even though we were playing crappy all night. It's like, yo, get your heads together for like a 4-minute stretch and see what kind of wonders it'll do for you. You know what I mean? So what I'm looking for this game is just to see like what is our execution going to be like that kind of stuff. Like Pop always kind of talks about like it's not, or Tim used to always say all this time too. Like we don't really focus on them, we focus on us, kind of thing. And so, like, when it comes to like these kind of games, this is kind of what I do too. Is like, all right, what we can talk about what they have all day, but really, it's like, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like that. That's kind of where my head is at for this game, at least.
For sure, for sure. I definitely think I think that this is a super important game, especially same thing with like the Pelicans, stuff like that, because we're all teams that are kind of fighting, like even though this is the beginning of the season, like you never know, this we could finish this year with like the same record as the Timberwolves or the Pelicans,
Yeah,
but because we lost that one game against them
exactly,
early in the season, we're not gonna make,
exactly.
that puts them that one game above us.
You know,
So
and when you and in an early season like this, when you see like the Nuggets starting off 1-4, like that makes a
Well, I
big
know
difference, man.
that's crazy.
You know what I mean? So like that's why and we saw it. We've seen it the past. Well, we as a Spurs fan, we've seen it many seasons, but we've seen it for sure in the past 2 years. The few losses separated where we stood in the bubble setting, in terms of the playoff play-in situations, and then the year before, the few losses changes how we stand going into the playoffs as a 7 seed versus going in like a 5 or a 4, or whatever. So it's just another year of like it matters, man. All of these games matter. So but I don't know. Does anybody have anything else to add for in terms of what they want to see? This is also just another opportunity to kind of get to know some of these younger players
Yeah,
from
so
those
so I
Timberwolves.
think I'll have more to say obviously on Sunday. Uh,
Yeah, a week from now.
After we get to see these guys play once, and then obviously we'll preview them for that night. But I want to see these guys play because I don't really want to talk too much out of my butt because I don't really know too much of these guys.
Yeah.
Other than Cat and D'Lo and Anthony Edwards, just from what I saw like in all the draft preview and everything like that. So I'm gonna give these guys a watch obviously whenever they play San Antonio later on down the week, and then I should have some more to say.
Yeah.
Obviously.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not the most knowledgeable about these guys either, but other like what I can talk about is that Cat's not a defensive center. D'Lo's not a defensive guard. I was talking about Josh Okogie, but that's only one player, and
Yeah.
I think that their defense is going to be something that we can definitely attack. It'll definitely be a huge factor in whether or not we get a good win against them.
Yeah. Good.
In
Good.
my
Good
opinion.
point. Good point, Jake.